Okay, big topic ahead. Let's talk about lists. So what exactly is a list? A list is actually a sequence consisting of elements separated by comma. The sequence of elements is enclosed by square brackets. You can have any data types as elements of a list. This means strings, numbers, tuples, or even other lists. And a list may have any number of elements. Similarly to strings, which can also be regarded as sequence of characters, lists are indexed, meaning each element has a certain position inside the list, starting at index 0. You can also use the len function to see the number of elements in the list and slices to extract only a portion of a list. As opposed to strings, lists are mutable, meaning that you can modify a list by adding or removing elements, and we will see and use that a lot throughout this course. Let's create our first list in this course. We will name it list1 and it will be initially empty. So list1 equals open and close square brackets. So in order to have an empty list, you just have to type in the square brackets and that's it. Nothing else is needed. To check that this is indeed a list, let's use the old type function on list1. So type of list1, and indeed we have class list. Now let's add some elements to our list because an empty list is really no fun. So list1 with these elements is now a list with some strings and numbers. Now let's remember the len function from the strings section and use it on our list. So len of list1 returns 6. This means that our list has 6 elements, and that is correct. Now let's see how we can access elements inside the list. Well, the same way as we did with characters in a string using indexes. So let's say list1 of 0 returns Cisco because this is the first element in the list. List1 of 1 will return, of course, the second element in the list, the string Juniper. List1 of -1 returns the last element in the list, -11. And list1 of -2 will return 10.5. As with strings, if we enter an invalid index, we will get an index error in return, stating that the list index is out of range. So let's try this. List1 of 100. Okay, so indeed we got an index error. To check that lists are indeed mutable, let's try to replace an element in this list. So considering our list, list1 of 2 will return a via, the string in our list. Now let's replace it with another networking vendor, let's say HP. We just have to use the equal sign to modify this. So list1 of 2 equals, and now the element we want to replace a via with, so HP. Now if we check list1 again, you can see that the result we were looking for has been achieved. So plain and simple, this is how you can update a list. Just type in the name of the variable, and in between square brackets, you have to insert the index at which you want the replacement to be made. Finally, following the equal sign, just enter the new element and that's it, you're good to go. Now, as a short review, the first element of a list is always positioned at index 0, and the last element corresponds to index -1. Also, remember that lists are mutable, unlike strings or numbers. I hope this is clear, and now we can move on to list methods.